So you've spent all this time picking out the perfect screw, right? You've got the right length, the perfect head, the thread is exactly what you need. But what about the coating? Today, we're diving into the common surface treatments for fasteners, because that thin little layer, that armor, is often just as crucial as the steel itself for making sure your project is a total success and, actually safe. Look, the number one enemy of pretty much any project you'll ever do is corrosion. It's the universal villain that weakens everything, leaves those awful rust stains, and can turn something you're proud of into a flat-out dangerous failure. The coating on your fastener is its armor. And if you choose the wrong armor, you're sending your project into battle knowing it's going to lose from day one. All right, let's start where most of us do, inside. The coatings you see most often at the hardware store, the really affordable ones, they're designed for indoor use. Places where you're not constantly fighting off rain and humidity. Think of these as your basic, first line of defense. First up, the one you've seen a million times, zinc plating. It's that bright, shiny silver finish on tons of screws and bolts. Now, this is an electrolytic coating, which is just a fancy way of saying it's an incredibly thin layer. It looks awesome for building furniture or hanging pictures, but honestly, its protection is only skin deep. One good scratch and boom, the steel underneath is wide open and ready to rust. Okay, what about those black screws everyone uses for drywall? That's usually a black oxide or a phosphate coating. And here's a surprise. Its main job isn't even fighting rust. It's actually there to stop a chemical reaction between the steel screw and the wet plaster and drywall mud. It gives you a little corrosion resistance, sure, but it really shines at stopping those chemical stains and holding on to paint. But again, this is strictly an indoor player. So for your indoor projects, the choice is pretty straightforward. If you're building a bookshelf and want that clean metallic look, zinc plating is your go-to. But if you're putting up drywall or anything you plan on painting over, that black phosphate coating is what the pros use. They're both super cost-effective, but let me say it one more time. Neither of them belong outside. Okay, time to step outside. And once you do, the game totally changes. Out here, the environment is just constantly attacking your fasteners. You've got rain, humidity, crazy temperature swings. Your fastener's armor needs a serious upgrade just to survive out here. And this right here, this is where so many projects go horribly wrong. You see a shiny zinc screw, and you think, hey, it's coated. It must be protected, right? Nope. As we just saw, that thin plating is no match for Mother Nature. Not all zinc coatings are created equal, not by a long shot. The difference is literally night and day. So here's the upgrade, hot dip galvanizing. Instead of a thin little coating, the entire fastener is literally plunged into a giant vat of molten zinc. What you get is this thick, tough, kind of rough, dull graying coating. This layer of zinc is amazing. It acts as a physical barrier and it's sacrificial. That means the zinc will corrode away first, like a bodyguard taking a bullet for the steel underneath. If you're building a deck or a fence, this is the absolute minimum you should be using. Let's just put them side by side. The thickness difference is just massive. We're talking 5, maybe 10 times thicker for hot dip galvanizing. And that's not just about looks. That's the difference between your project lasting a few rainy months versus lasting for decades. Zinc plating is for looking pretty indoors. Hot dip galvanizing is for serious, load-bearing structures that are going to get beat up by the weather. But what if you're building in the absolute worst environments you can imagine? I'm talking coastal areas with that corrosive salt spray, or maybe industrial zones, or just projects where failure is absolutely not an option. For those situations, you got to call in the Elite Guard, advanced, high-performance coatings that are in a whole other league. Now here's a quick but really critical technical point. These top-tier coatings are applied in a way that doesn't use electricity. Why does that matter? Well, it completely avoids a scary thing called hydrogen embrittlement. That's a hidden danger, where hydrogen atoms can make super-strong steel suddenly snap like a pretzel, sometimes weeks after you've installed it. With these advanced coatings, that risk is totally off the table. First up in the elite squad is Ruspert. The best way to think about it is like multi-layered armor. It's a 3-part system that's all chemically bonded together for some serious toughness. It's built to fight off not just rust, but also all the scrapes and scratches that are bound to happen when you're building something. So here's how that triple-layer armor works. At the bottom, you have that zinc layer, your sacrificial bodyguard. Then, on top of that, there's a special chemical film that acts like a super strong primer, locking all the layers together. And for the final touch, you get a hard baked ceramic top coat. It's like a tough outer shell. All 3 work together to provide just incredible protection. Another family of these elite coatings is all about zinc flakes.
Imagine your screw is covered in thousands of tiny, overlapping scales of zinc and aluminum, kind of like scale mail armor. The original was called Dacrotized, but it had chromium in it. Today, the modern global standard is Geomet. It gives you the same, if not better, performance, but it's way more environmentally friendly because it's chromium-free.
So how much better are we talking, really? Well, look at this. A salt spray test basically puts corrosion on fast forward. Your standard zinc-plated screw might last about 100 hours. A hot dip galvanized one, maybe 400. That's pretty good. But Geomet and Ruspert, they can blow past 1,000 hours no problem. The jump in durability is just staggering. So to wrap up these pro-level options, Geomet is basically the global standard for high-tech stuff like automotive and industrial parts. Ruspert, with that tough ceramic top layer, is your absolute champion for construction in the nastiest coastal and marine environments, where getting scraped up is just as big a threat as rust.
Okay, whew, we've covered a ton of ground, from basic shiny screws to these crazy ceramic hybrids. So how do you actually use this info to make the right call at the hardware store? Let's boil it all down into a simple playbook. Think of this table as your cheat sheet. Anything indoors and dry, basic zinc or black oxide is all you need. It's cheap and it works. Building an outdoor deck away from the ocean, hot dip galvanized is the workhorse. It's durable and affordable. But if you live anywhere near the coast or you're working on a boat, you absolutely need to invest in something like Ruspert. And hey, notice that line for damp indoor spot like a bathroom? Yeah, none of these are the best choice. That's where you really want to step up to stainless steel. At the end of the day, this isn't just about making your project look good or avoiding some rust spots. It's about building things that are going to last and, more than anything, that are going to be safe. Picking the right coating is basically an insurance policy against the kind of scary failure that can happen when a critical screw finally gives up. So the big takeaway is pretty clear. Your fastener's coating is its most important defense against the world. Choosing the right armor ensures your project will last and stay safe. But just remember, even the world's best armor is pretty useless if it's not put on right. Which kind of leaves us with one last question. Now that your fastener has the right armor, do you know how to install it for victory? Thanks for watching.